Hello.
Hello.
Have you ever wondered why some people, who may as well be your twin, can eat twice as much as you and maintain or even lose weight, yet you only have to sniff the smell of a cake walking past and you put on weight? Well, I have also wondered that. But I've been doing some research. I actually read a really good article, right? So we're going to get in today. Yeah, I know. Why I'm fat and you're not. 101. The new 21st century pandemic. Obesity! Yay! With two girls who have struggled with their weight all their lives and who are actively, severely perspiring right now. I'd like to apologise for that. It's
so hot.
Literally 10:30 in the morning, but it's fucking boiling. Like
It's already 26, 24,
yeah,
isn't it?
and it's like our house is not made for it, okay? So, and also because we're recording, we can't have the window open, we can't have the fan on, so we're just in a little saunery sweatbox right now. We're having a good time. Also, I'd like to point out, we will be discussing, I haven't actually mentioned this to you yet, but I was going to discuss me starting the newly licensed obesity drug and my thoughts on that, because I've had a strugs day. It's only 10:30 and I'm fucking dying, all right? So it's not all, fun and roundabouts as it seems. Firstly, I just wanted to discuss what is obesity. Obviously, you need to just figure out what we're talking about. So that rhymed. I have been obese for literally most of my adult life, according to BMI.
Do you think BMI is an accurate measure of that? Because I feel like that's a highly... As
Yeah,
a doctor,
it is.
how do you about BMI?
I have always said to... You're so quiet on that, oh my god.
I'll speak up.
How are you so quiet?
How are you so loud?
I don't know, I think I know that I need to project.
I'll project. I'll try and project.
I've turned the microphone up now, so hopefully it'll be
okay.
Louder. So, I do not think that BMI is good for some people. For me in particular, not good. I've weightlifted, done, I've always had a higher muscle density than most normal people.
Dawn is strong as fuck.
Yeah,
when we go to the gym, she just constantly loads up everything with double the weight, and I'm massively humbled every time we go. I
mean, I did used to be a competitive weightlifter and powerlifter.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that about me, okay? But as a result, I've always been super heavy, and the doctors have been like, girl, you need to lose some weight. And I'm like, actually, I'm a fucking powerlifter, bitch, so leave me alone. Get out my zone, okay? But now I'm not a powerlifter, and I'm like, oh god, okay, I am definitely I'm obese, all right? I am, especially according to the BMI scale, because we're both really short, aren't we? You're
I'm 4'11".
Yeah, and I'm 5'1". So fucking shorties, and it's damaging us. In terms of BMI.
It just makes everything the proportions of stuff is different, isn't it? The calories that we have to eat, and just a meal that doesn't do anything to some people. For us, we've just got lower metabolisms and all that sort of stuff, and people that are even a few inches taller, the weight just gets distributed differently, doesn't it? We just carry weight because of our height. I don't know, it seems a lot more obvious, maybe.
Yeah.
Because there's not anywhere for it to go.
I think the microphone works better there, by the way, if I sort of direct myself like this.
I'll also direct myself.
You talk so quietly, I can't believe
That's me projecting.
This is me projecting.
Yeah, but you do acting.
Yeah, I do. Okay, so in terms of...
Also, that was just you shouting, by the way.
No, but when you're on stage, mate, you've got to shout. You got to get the people at the back to hear you. Okay? So, yeah, I don't think BMI is a good indicator of fatness as such, especially if you're super muscly, but also if you're pregnant, obviously. But I do think for the average person, it is a good indicator just to be oh, I'm actively dripping with sweat right now, and you're watching it drip down my face. I'm definitely cooling down though.
Yeah.
It is a good indicator of fatness, I guess, or what weight you should be. But if I should be the weight that my BMI says, then I should be 50 kilos, which is just not going to happen. Literally, we did the body thing yesterday, the thing where it electrocutes you. And my muscle mass was 55 kilos, on its own, excluding my bones, excluding my fat, excluding my fucking organs, excluding everything else. my muscle on its own is 50 to 55. I can't remember exactly. But I was like, shit, I'm never gonna... Like, I just can't... Yeah, that's like a whole human of muscle. Like,
well, that's what I was saying.
crazy.
Like, the scan, yeah, because at our gym you have one of those, like, intense scanners and it tells you, like, everything. But, like, your ratio and percentage of muscle was, like, actually really good. But it's just skewed, again, because of, like, height and all of those things. And you just see a number on the scale and it's, like, stressful. But if you actually go into the, like, different categories, like, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't, like, really unhealthy.
No, but I definitely should be lighter, like, for my size.
Yeah, and you've said, like, you want to lose weight.
Yeah, for sure.
Mainly because, like, you feel it in your joints and things like that, right? And you just feel, you know, in yourself that you felt
I feel
healthier.
unhealthy, yeah. I feel like, I walk up the stairs and it's like, I don't feel fit.
But that's a better reason to go and want to lose weight rather than I want to be this size, I want to fit into this kind of like these clothes and things like that.
I literally don't care about that. I just want to be healthier and not have diabetes. I don't have diabetes that I know of, but like I don't want to develop it, and that is like a big fear. Not fear, I'm not like diabetes, but like it is a concern of mine. Oh my god, I've got like sweat patches here.
Because you keep wiping your sweat on your...
But it's better than like having it drip down my face. Oh, also, if I'm thinner, like maybe I'll be less sweaty. I'm really not like, this is really hard, and also I feel like we're so far away. Can you not just like sit forwards a bit?
Well, I'm gonna have to move this now then, because I need to get my leg out.
Okay. Oh, hello.
Is that better? Watch me immediately start to slouch.
It is better.
Okay.
You look really sad to be here.
Maybe I am.
That's a great thumbnail. Yeah, I like forced her to come here. I definitely think that's better. Like we look more involved. Like we were really far away, like back here before. Okay, I'm sorry, we're having a lot of teething issues here. Right. Did you know, I did some research yesterday, like I said, 39%, almost half of the world's population are overweight.
I can believe that. I'm surprised there's not more, to be honest.
But then add on 13% and they're obese. So it's like, half of the world are overweight or obese.
Wait. What do you mean, sorry? So 50% of the world are obese? And 30-something% of the world are overweight?
No, 39% are overweight and 13% are obese. But you add those together and it's like half, right? I know you're not supposed to add percentages or whatever, but I'm just doing it for ease. So, 39%, almost 50% are overweight or obese.
I bet as well, if you like put in a percentage of people that think that they're like overweight and aren't happy with their body, that's going to be a huge percentage. Like not from a health perspective, but people just like...
I think most people aren't happy with their body, are they?
Exactly. But I mean like to do with weight and slimness and all that sort of stuff, like aesthetically.
Yeah. But we'll get into that in a bit. Like, oh my god, I've got so many good causes for obesity that I've written down like fucking pages here. Yeah, so like a quarter of adults are overweight or obese, and a fifth of children.
That's quite concerning, isn't it?
It's concerning. It doesn't surprise me, but it's concerning for sure. Then you also have to remember that there's a difference between central obesity and more generalized obesity. I would say I'm like generally obese, so like my whole body just increases. Or some people get just fat around their tummy, especially men, or get like visceral obesity, which is obesity inside of the tum-tum, right? And that is especially bad because then it's like around your organs and your organs are like, get off me. But it is often harder to lose that. So I'm like the good kind of obese, if you want to put it that way. Great. So then we get on to the causes, right? So yes, everyone is going to think you just eat too much. Yes, that's probably true. Okay. I'm not denying that.
Maybe.
No, it is true. Like I do probably eat too much, but then right, I think there are so many more factors than just eating too much.
But also, just to comment on that, like eating too much for what your like baseline calories that you burn every day. But like, I have a PT and we're figuring out my baseline calories at the moment, but my partner's is literally double, like actually double what mine is. And, you know, but we like cook together and eat together, and I know a lot of it's like portion control, but like I like food, I like to cook, I like to eat, and I literally have to restrict if I want to lose weight. Whereas like, and it's completely different for him, is he wants to build weight, whereas I want to lose weight, but we're kind of eating the same, and it's just a bit of a mind fuck, basically. Like trying to get my head round that as someone that, yeah, like loves to cook and eat.
Also, I've just always been someone that has always like put on weight. Like
Yeah.
I just always, it just like comes, it just attaches itself to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't even have to, for me, it's not as though I'm eating too much. Like it doesn't feel that way. I'm like, I'm hungry, I'm eating. Great.
But also, and like you've been like a very active person, like burning loads of calories every day and like building loads of muscle, but even that is like building weight, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's again being so small. Like when you're building so much muscle, like you're not going to be slim, are you?
No. But I think I've just naturally, like genetically, and that is another cause that we could talk about, is genetically I just hold more muscle than anybody, like most normal people. Like some people have a sort of slim build. My dad always said I was big boned, like, but he always said to me, and he was always so like body positive with me, even though I was always a chunky gal, he would be like, you're built for like this, you're not a runner, you're not a long distance runner, but what you are made for is athletics and lifting weights. And he was always like so positive about that, and it wasn't like what you can't do, it was like, well, what are your strengths and what can you do? And like I lift weights fucking so easily, like it's not hard for me. But for some people, especially people who are taller or have lower muscle mass, it's like it's much harder. But I only have to work out like not that much just to put on muscle weight. Like it's just easy. And
well, that's it, like you'll just join me every now and then on my workout, won't you? And like you're always consistently doing like loads more than me. And like you're not like on a regime where you're going to the gym 3 times a week and lifting weights. Like you're just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, I am. I'm along for that fun gym ride.
But also like it's interesting, like you said, how your dad was like, you're meant for lifting weights and stuff. That's really nice, and that's like a healthy way of looking at it. But I feel like that's often like in school and stuff. Our school was very like, there was people that were very good at sports, and they were kind of like quite well known for it, I guess. But we weren't particularly good at the things like lacrosse, netball, do you know what I mean? Like running, all
Tall
of those
people sports.
Yeah.
Basketball, high jump.
It was just kind of like, well, that's it, you're not good at PE, and there was no like alternatives to look at, really, was there? And it made me like hate sport, and it's only as an adult that I've actually kind of rediscovered sport, and like now I do like weights and stuff, and you know, play things like tennis. But I would never have done that at school, because it was just like, well, you're not good at it.
Yeah, I think school sports are very limited to the fact that a lot of schools don't have like a gym, or we didn't have like a swimming pool, or you know, but I've been to other schools which have had swimming pools and that have had gyms, so we were able to go and do those kind of things, and we did gymnastics and we did kickboxing. I think at our school, because it was quite a small school, like the sports opportunities were very limited,
and they were just very like classic girls' grammar school, like hockey, netball.
I don't remember lacrosse being a thing.
Lacrosse was a thing. It wasn't as big as like hockey and netball, but like it was just all of those kind of sports, wasn't it?
I don't remember really playing sports at school.
Well, that's because we just pissed about, probably.
I remember doing a bit of PE, but I don't remember like what it was.
As soon as we got to sixth form, I Skyped PE every single time.
Yeah, but I'm surprised we were able to do that.
Oh, we just weren't really on anyone's radar, were we? I think.
Oh,
there was a few times when well, no, because the thing is with the sixth form is that you could technically go out and do things like rock climbing. So we used to say that we were doing that.
Yeah, because I remember
And
going
just
out
not.
and going like for a coffee.
Yeah, or like going to Subway.
I never went to Subway, but yeah, because I remember do you remember my friend Mia? Probably not. She was in your form though. Okay.
I don't remember a lot of people from school.
No, but I was like friends with her from primary school, and we used to like every Friday or whatever it was, when we had PE, we used to go to Costa and catch up with a coffee, which was mainly just discussing my horrendous teenage escapades, which we will not get into. But I was a little shitbag as a teenager. Like,
still are, mate. mate?
I don't know. I'm very well behaved.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I just wanted to call you a shitbag.
I am a shitbag. I was a shitbag for sure. I don't know many teenagers that aren't though.
Yeah.
Were you a bit of a shitbag?
I mean, maybe
I
not in
think
the
you were
same
quite
sense
good.
as you. Yeah. Maybe not in the same sense.
Everyone's
as you.
gonna be like,
I'd
what
go
was
out.
she doing?
I'd go out drinking in fields and, you know, go to house parties and not tell my parents. And
Yeah.
But I was still always quite responsible because the thing is, I would just go and stay at your house.
Yeah, we used to have bare sleepovers.
I would like go clubbing on like a Thursday and then go to school the next day.
Oh my god.
Like,
I literally had a
That's
3-day
so bad, isn't it?
I had a 3-day hangover the other day. Like I went
We used
out.
to go out on Thursday and go to school and then go out on Friday and Saturday as well.
Do you know, I think that's because when you're younger, your ability to break down alcohol is better, so you break it down quicker. So that's because you got more liver enzymes, I think. Bit of science!
Well, my liver enzymes clearly just do not exist anymore.
Well, they start decreasing after you like hit 25, I think. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, because I remember in medical school we used to do these tests of like our drinking habits, and I was always in the concerning category. Like, you should be offering this person alcohol cessation advice.
Oh god.
And yeah, it was always like troublesome. But like, before we like, just carrying on the conversation of school, you alright? Just staring into the glass.
Sorry. Yeah.
Hypnotised. Before we carry on the conversation of causes, I think the school thing is so important. Like, I have always been a chunky gal. Like, I'm pretty sure like, ever since I was born, I was fucking 9 pounds or something.
Thick.
Thick. Thick baby booty. And I was just always bigger. And then even when I was a kid, I was bullied a bit. I wouldn't say a lot. Like, I was never like trembling in the corner like every day. Like, didn't want to go to school, but I did get teased a lot. Like, at various times throughout my childhood and adolescent life. I remember one person in particular. Like, I was in this recreational ground car park. I literally remember where it was. I don't remember who said it, but it was a boy with another boy who was clearly showing off to him. And I wasn't even that big. Like, in comparison to children nowadays, like, I would have been like thinner. Like, how that's pretty crazy. Like, you know, you see a lot of kids now, they are obese. But I mean, when we were younger, obesity was like, as a kid, was like way less common. So it was a lot more frowned upon or bullied. And I remember this guy saying to me like, oh, I'm gonna like slap your ass and ride the ripples. I know, I was like fucking 11.
That's disgusting. That's so gross.
But I mean, that stuck with me for literally for, what am I now? Yeah, like a long time, nearly 20 years, and it will for the rest of my life. And I remember exactly where it happened. I remember like there were 2 guys, but they were like a similar age to me. They weren't like 20, which definitely would have been weird.
It's still fucked up.
Yeah, it's still like very unnecessary and rude. So that's, my great experience. And then it's always just been like sideways comments of like, do you remember when I went to Magaluf, right?
Well, that's your first mistake, going to Magaluf.
Yeah, well, I was probably at my thinnest then. Like, I was, you know, like, not on purpose, like, as in I wasn't trying for Magaluf, but, you know, I was exercising so much and eating, like, well, my eating was very controlled, you know, but I would exercise a lot, like, I would be at the gym a lot. And I remember leaving Magaluf, and I just remember this, like, really sideways comment about, like, oh, well, there's always a bigger one in the group. And I remember thinking, that's me. It was never like, you're the biggest one in the group. But like, actually, now I look back, I'm like, was it me? Because I was very small, but maybe I just thought they were talking about me. But anyway, that's like not something that guys need to say. Like, just keep it to your fucking selves.
Anyone, if anyone is like commenting on someone else's body, just keep it to yourself, because as you say, those things can really stay with people. And even if you don't necessarily mean it from a hateful place, it can be, if you're insecure about your body, it can be construed that way, and yeah, it can really have a long-term effect. So I think just don't comment on other people's bodies. Like, if someone's overweight, they most likely know they are.
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Like, thanks for telling me. I didn't fucking realise. Idiot. And I wish I would say that now, but when you're 10, you're not going to say that.
And how old are you when you went to Magaluf?
18.
Well, there you go. Like, at 18, you're so, like, most people at 18 are, like, completely insecure about their body and, like, insecure about themselves and, you know, finding themselves, growing up, comparing themselves to others. Like, you don't need some backhanded comment from some random guy.
Yeah, and you're going to remember that as well.
Yeah, so it's just, as a general rule, if we just didn't comment on other people's bodies, life would be better, but it's not as simple as that, is it?
I'd like to point out, though, as well, commenting on people's bodies who are too thin is another thing. Like, you can do it from a place of concern. Like, I think you might be losing a bit too much weight, but like,
if they're a friend and you're genuinely concerned for their health and their well-being, and it's coming from that, and you can explain,
or like a friend or family, but it's like, I know people who have the opposite issue to me, in that they get essentially like skinny shamed, and I don't think people realise that they're doing it. And I know it's like, oh, you don't want to offend anybody in this day and age, but it is like, you need to also realise that people on the other end of the spectrum who struggle to put on weight and who are, you know, struggle with their lack of shape, especially as like big booties and big boobs and hourglass figures are like coming in, and you know, the skinny rakes of
90s supermodel chic.
Like literally anorexic level, which was, you know, dangerous to watch really, but that was kind of the realm we were brought up in, is like literally size 0 was the goal. But those people mostly probably have eating disorders, sadly, but there are some people who are trying to gain weight and just can't do it. Like, do I wish that was me? Of course. But then if I was in that position, would I be like, I want to put on weight and I want to be curvy? Yeah, I probably would be. So it's like, everybody has their struggles, and it's like, you sound really sad. That was a really big sigh.
Sorry. I think it's just because I'm hot.
You look like you're held here against your will, like you're a hostage.
I am.
I know, I asked you yesterday, and
Blink
you
twice
were like,
if you need help.
They can't see you because you've got glasses on. I also need help, so I blinked twice.
Yeah, we both just need help, basically.
I'm actually a lot cooler now.
No,
like,
I am. But the sigh wasn't out of, like, it was just...
Yeah, but you do look a bit like a hostage.
Well, can't help that. It's just how I look.
So... Yeah, Izzy is... Yeah, you're very, like, opposite to me in terms of, like, I'm quite loud, maybe? I don't know whether I'm saying the wrong thing.
I still think people, like, a lot of people say that I'm quite loud and gobby, but I think in comparison to you, I'm still not that loud and gobby.
Oh, okay. So we're, like, I'm a loud and gobby out of 10, I'm, like, a 7. And
no, I'd say you're, like, an 8 or 9, and I'm, like, a 6 or 7.
No, because I've definitely seen people that are louder and gobbier than me.
But also, I'm not loud and gobby right now, but...
It really depends who you're with, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it depends on the situation.
Yeah, but I also become less loud and gobby the more intimidating people there are around me that make me go, ooh. I don't know how to behave around you.
Around me?
No, around you.
Oh,
like,
as in
the person.
Okay.
I also, little ad here. If anybody does want to help me out, because Gal is poor and Gal needs another microphone, because, like, this is difficult. Like, my back is hurting because I'm, like, trying to, like...
How much was this one?
I don't remember. Was it, like, 80? It was, like, less than 100. So I do have a Patreon page if you want to go check it out. It would super help me. Because then I could have guests on and not have to, like, literally be 0 centimetres away from them, or -1 centimetre, because I am.
Yeah, but you like being -1 centimetre away from me.
You're quite hot, so so I'm not, like, loving it right now.
Yeah, fair. It is too hot to be close to anyone right now.
Yeah, like, we are touching under the table, so
leg to leg.
Not hugely vibing, but can cope. Okay. Do you want to explain your... I feel like I've talked a lot, but do you want to explain your experiences with your weight?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just similar to you, in that always been short, always felt like I've been chunkier. Like, even at my slimmest, when I was actually really, like, mentally unwell, I was still not happy and, like, still not slim. And, you know, like, and also a big thing is, like, clothes, because being so short, like, I can never just walk into a shop and pick some jeans off the rack. Like, I have to try them on. If I find, like, a brand of jeans that I like, I'll buy them in every size and, like, every colour, because just finding clothes that fit really easily is really hard. And, you know, it just, if you don't feel good in what you're wearing, I think, like, it makes you feel worse. So, yeah, and I think, again, like, our school, going to an all-girls school that was very competitive, it was like you were always, not like really obviously, but you were always kind of encouraged to compete with each other, weren't you? And it was almost like, I felt there was a lot of, like, one-upmanship and, like, you know, like, oh, it's all these people getting the awards. We used to have, like, awards ceremonies, and it was, like, always the same people, and all of the other students had to go and just sit and watch as all these people got awards. And it's like, I mean, fair play to them, they were achieving things that I wasn't, but yeah, I just think, like, I personally didn't do well in that sort of environment. And yeah, I just think, like, I've, again, with sports, I'd never, until my adult life, in the past, like, few years, and, like, being with my partner who's quite... they're dead.
I don't know. It's going. Carry on talking.
What was I saying?
Talking about competitive girls' school stuff.
Oh yeah, and just like, not really finding any form of exercise that I liked until I was an adult. So it just, like, it made losing weight really hard. And then also COVID, like, not going out basically at all. Like, the only fun thing that you could do was getting a takeaway every weekend. So yeah, and just not being active at all. Like, packed on the weight, and it just feels like since then, you know, I've been constantly trying to lose it. And a lot of the time, I think any times I've gone through, like, diets or kind of before now, it's just been really unhealthy and, like, really restrictive because I want to lose weight quickly, to the point where it's like, you know, I'm feeling, like, physically weak and lightheaded because I'm not eating enough, but it's just not sustainable. But now I feel like I have kind of a routine, and I eat healthier, and I do restrict in a sense, like, I track my calories, but I'm not tracking to the point of, like, I literally can't function, you know. I'm just, it's more tracking that I'm getting enough protein and things like that, rather than, like, being really restrictive. But yeah, it's just, like, it's taken a long time of, like, being very insecure about my body and restricting in unhealthy ways to get to this point, I think.
You have to be in a state when you're in a kind of obese loving body. You have to always be in a deficit. Like, you have to be hungry, and that is a horrible, it's like being constantly thirsty. It's like a horrible feeling, and you feel, like, mentally fatigued. And to be honest, the one thing that really gets you through it, and I know it's like, then it becomes this addictive cycle, is sugar, like, or just calories. And oh my god, I'm pretty sure, I was thinking last night when I was in bed, like, I was thinking about this podcast, because like, I had planned it a bit, obviously, and then I was thinking, and I was going to Google it, but I forgot to, but I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere that sugar is just as addictive as things like morphine, but I don't know if that's actually true.
I've heard that as well, because I got this thing that you might find quite interesting.
Can you come closer?
Called Killer Vanilla. Have you heard of it?
No.
And it looks like, you know, you get those little inhalers that are like Vicks, and you can stick them up your nose.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it smells of, like, cake and vanilla. And apparently you can, like, you do it for a certain amount. I think, is it like 60 days or something, or 40 days? And that technically breaks the habit and breaks the craving. So every time you, like, crave sugar, you sniff this, and then the point is that after, because the thing is with me is it's like clockwork, that, because I have such a sweet tooth, so it's like clockwork that after dinner I want something sweet, and it's not that I'm still hungry and I'm not having, like, a massive bowl of ice cream. I just need that little something sweet.
Yeah.
So the idea with this thing is, like, yeah, just basically tricking your brain that you are having sugar, but you're not, so you actually get, like, kick the addiction.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, it's pretty wild that even exists, isn't it?
Is there actually any evidence behind that?
Yeah, I mean, it's like...
Whenever I look at, like, new treatments or whatever, I look at it from a very analytical perspective. I'm like, is that actually, you know, like, I need to look at the research behind that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually looked at a fucking paper, like an actual journal paper yesterday about obesity. It was fucking so interesting. because, like, I know this is like me geeking out, being a little bit like, I don't love papers, okay? Like, that's not my vibe at all. I'm not a reader. But this one was killer. Like, I was like, yes, you are the one. And it was like literally about this podcast episode. Like, it was, well, not about it, but it was made for us, okay? And it was talking about all of the different, the complex causes of obesity, because we can't truly say that obesity is caused by genes alone, because it's been over the last 30 years that obesity rates have gone, and your genes aren't going to change that quickly. So it really delved into the epigenetics, but I realised that
what's epigenetics?
Yeah, so I don't know how to explain this, like, not that I'm like a fucking scientist, but so basically you have genes, DNA genes, not like denim jeans, and you let's say you have like I don't know, I'm really simplifying it here, I'm probably butchering it to all of the people who are listening who are like, that's not right, but yeah, we're making it simple. So if you have like a gene that's for weight loss, for example, or expresses things, makes proteins that make your metabolism quicker, for example, certain foods could turn that gene on, or certain environmental factors could turn that gene on or off. So like everybody has a certain set of genes, but we're all a bit different because obviously they're different, but everybody has the same like base genes, right? And some people have them switched on and some people don't. And there are some that you can't change, like you can't turn on your eye colour turning to green or whatever, like you can't change that. Or like maybe your skin colour or something, or your hair colour. But there are genes that, like metabolic genes, that can change depending on
and would that be like when you age, those genes change anyway? Like as you age, your metabolism slows down and stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can like turn them on and off through, and they showed this, if you're really into this, right? There's something called I think I'm saying it right, a agouti mouse study, where basically this is really geeky, but I was like so into it yesterday. I sat at the gym like eating my food and reading this thing about mice. So basically they're called agouti, agouit mouse, agouti mice, and if like one mouse is fed a certain type of food that's rich in like methylated something, they will have offspring, 3 out of 4 offspring that are healthy, non-obese, and have this like dark mousy brown colour. Whereas if you feed them like normal mouse food, then 3 out of 4, or I should actually say 1 out of 4, have that mousy brown colour and they're like slim gene, but the other 3 have the gene either switched on or off to make them fat, so they're really obese mice. And they're also like this yellowy colour. So, but they're the same mouse, but they've been given different food, which is like...
As in the parents have been given different food and that's affected the genes that they are passing on to their children.
Yeah, So exactly. So which genes are like switched on for them. And I think, we were really getting into this yesterday. Like, obesity is such a complex hormonal disease, and I say disease because it fucking is. Like, for people who don't think
it's not a choice for some. Like, I mean, obviously there's like unhealthy eating and not exercise or lifestyle, but like as you said, there's actual genetic things that mean it's harder to lose weight and easier to gain weight, and where you carry your weight and all of these sorts of things. Exactly,
and you can't change those. And I've exercised all of my life, and I've never been thin. Like, I've never been below a size 8. And that was, when I was a size 8, I was, like you said earlier, I was fucking so unhealthy in terms of I wasn't eating enough. I was, like, dead. I was literally starving myself every day to be that size. And that was the only way I could be a size 8.
It's not sustainable, is it?
No, it's not. And you live your life miserable and probably malnourished. But it's like your body just doesn't want to be that size. And I think there's also something to be said for the fact that our lifestyles now are so different to what our bodies are like meant for. I feel like I'm talking a lot, so I'm going to let you talk.
I kind of need to go, so...
Oh, shit.
So maybe you carry on?
Carry on my own.
Sorry, everyone.
I didn't even realise the time.
I would stay, but I really need to do some work.
Wowzers. I just let Izzy out because I felt like I was kind of cheating on her, like sitting here continuing to podcast and she's like leaving the house on her own. So I went and let her out because I'm a nice friend. Yeah, I definitely need 2 microphones because it's so hard. It should sound like this. But when you've got one person who slouches and talks really quietly, it's quite difficult. So I'm sorry. But if you do want to help out, like I said, my Patreon page would greatly appreciate you because I just want to get a fucking second microphone and also a video camera because I know it sounds lavish, but it's fucking hard when your camera cuts out on you every 30 minutes or loses battery and you can't charge it on the go and you also don't have a second microphone. So interviewing people is very difficult. But look, hopefully we'll get there one day. And now I can turn the microphone back down because I'm probably deafening you. All right. Well, thanks for sticking around till now. We're just going to carry on. It feels a little bit weird, but I was also talking a lot anyway. So, yeah, I do talk too much. The thing is, right, people are like, people always say that I talk too much, and I do think that. But I don't want to, like, make people feel uncomfortable by being like, now you talk. Or, like, if they're not, like, jumping to talk, then I feel like I've just got to fill the space. So, that's just my own mental affliction right there. So, there we go. Oh, God, we barely even, it's good because Izzy and I just had a chat about like our school life and, our life growing up as like a little bit chubbier. But now I guess I can get into like the real causes, like the kind of, I don't want to say boring shit because you'll just go, don't want to listen to the boring shit. But like what is really causing this obesity pandemic? It's not quite a pandemic yet actually, because there are some places that are really poor and like Africa, for example, and don't have obesity problems, but they actually have malnutrition and starvation problems. So it is an epidemic, which means like it's endemic it's like a significant issue in certain countries in the world, but not so like the whole world, not pandemic, like COVID was naughty. And like HIV and other things that we seem to have ignored. So yeah, so we talked about eating too much, yes, true. Stress. So I was so stressed over the last 6 months because I couldn't get a job, essentially. Nobody fucking believes me. I understand. I am a doctor, but like, trust me, okay? I was trying. And it wasn't like, it was just the admin took so long, okay? Don't even get me started. So I was very stressed. I wasn't really leaving the house because the weather was shit. When you're stressed, you tend to like eat more, or some people do. When you're stressed, you just generally secrete more hormones that probably make you put on weight, like cortisol. And it's, yeah, like this vicious cycle. And I think I put on weight, I did put on weight over that time. And also, yeah, there were just a lot of reasons for putting on weight. Oh my God, I'm so sweaty. Okay, but there are also medications. Just talking from a doctor perspective here, there are medications like steroids who, some people might be on them long term, especially high dose steroids, which people aren't usually on for long term. But if you're on like chemotherapy or you've got cancer or something, it can actually make you put on weight if you're on steroids, or you're on steroids for another reason, or you have too much exogenous I've forgotten the word, like within yourself, too much steroid created within yourself. So like things like Cushing's disease, you can get central obesity in particular, and that's just like obesity around your tum-tum. And then there are particular other medications such as antipsychotics, which just that's why a lot of people who have schizophrenia in particular, like they are often overweight or obese because they're on antipsychotics, which they'd need to be, but it makes them eat more. Like, I don't exactly know why, but it just does. So, like, it's a very common side effect. There are also, I have wondered if I've been depressed over the last few months. Look, I've had money issues. I've not really left the house because I haven't been working. I've really been trying to work hard at my YouTube and podcast, and it's a slow burn. Like, you're not going to get results overnight with that shit. And losing your money and not being able to work over like 6 months is so stressful. You're just like And then I got a fucking HMRC bill that was like $5,000, and that has also been horrendous. So it's like all of it combined has just caused me to be extremely stressed. And when I'm stressed, I get really like frozen. So I don't want to go out and exercise. I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to go and like do stuff. I get this freeze response when I'm stressed, and I'm just like, no, I don't want to. So there are other underlying conditions. I would say depression is an underlying condition that can make you put on weight, not in itself like physically, but the results of it, you know, eating more or less, just exercising more, being more tired, sleeping more, etc. And I do wonder if I've been going through a bit of a like depressive episode, which I don't like to admit, because like I thought I was doing really well in terms of my mental health, but I've been like quite teary, like sad, crying, not loads, and you wouldn't see it like here. I do have like really happy times, but I've also had like and I'm still going through this really stressful period of money issues, and it doesn't seem like it's going away anytime quick. And also we've got the strikes, so I am not earning money over that time. So yeah, I also think, and I have talked about this in one of my other podcast episodes, which was about, I believe, obesity, or I can't remember exactly, but it's on my podcast feed. So it's basically about how growing up poor can actually lead you to be more obese, because it was scarcity mindset. Because I'm always like, oh my god, is food gonna run out? I'm like, in my mind, where is my next meal coming from? Which I know is silly, because it's like everywhere. Food is everywhere. It's so easy to get, and I can literally eat like a fucking loaf of bread for like 20p. Like, it's not as though I'm gonna die of starvation, but in my head, because I've grown up poor, I'm like, fuck, am I gonna run out of food? Like, where is my next meal coming from? And I have been to the point of literally having no fucking food and having no fucking money and no one to help me, and it's like a worrying place where I guess you could go to a food bank, but it's like really fucking concerning. I've just sworn a lot in the last like few seconds. So there is and it's like this hoarding, especially in your mind. You're like, oh, I need to eat as much as I can to, maybe not consciously, but your subconscious is thinking, I need to eat so that I am not going to starve. Okay, it's like an instinctive thing. Let's also get on to our lifestyle, okay, and culture and just external environmental factors. Fuck me. This is the one that gets me, okay? Because you think obesity is someone's fault, right? You need to check yourself and wreck yourself. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds right. Because if you walk into a supermarket, and this gets me, okay? If you walk into a supermarket, you walk through an aisle of chocolate bars, the first thing you see. And when you're at the checkout, chocolate bars, easy to grab, done. When you go into a petrol station, fucking chocolate bars, only chocolate bars. Like, generally, if it's the smaller it is, the more chocolate bars it has, like percentage wise, because the one thing they'll keep is chocolate and sweets, and the first things to go are like healthy food, like fruit and vegetables. That is like the first thing to go. And food nowadays is made to be addictive, like it just is, because it makes money and it's cheap to make and they make lots of profit off it. And in our busy lives where we all have cars because we all travel to work, we don't live and exist in small communities anymore, and we travel the world, our lives are very busy. Like, think about how many things I've got to do. Like, I've got acting tonight, I had acting last night, 2 separate acting classes, and then I'm recording a podcast, I've still got a YouTube video to edit. I also just have loads of hobbies, like I like to draw, etc. Go to the gym, I'm still expected to, like, you know, go to work and exist in like a normal human sphere where I wash myself and like make the bed and shit. So it's like everything is so busy and it's just easy to grab stuff, right? Takeaway, etc. And office jobs, like over the past 50 years, we've gone from a more industrial country, and the more wealthy your country is, the more sedentary your lifestyle is going to be, because the work that makes money is sedentary work, like more productive work, like office work and working on a computer and programming, building websites, stuff like that. The work that doesn't make much money is like manual labor work, unless you're like a builder, and then you actually can make quite a lot of money. But most manual labor jobs like cleaning, housekeeping, what else? Fruit picking, all very low paid jobs. And because you have to be like quote unquote unskilled to do it, as in like you don't have to have like a degree or have to have a qualification to clean or to pick fruit, these people aren't well remunerated for their efforts. And I tell you what, I went and picked some strawberries the other day. By God, did I lose about a litre in sweat. I swear. Like, it was horrendous. The field we were in, I was picking strawberries. There was no breeze whatsoever. It was like a hot box sauna because they put like these really tall trees in between all of the fields. It was so hot and it was such hard work and there was no shade. It was horrendous. And I was like, wow, I can see why people do pick your own now, in terms of the companies do pick your own, because they don't have to pay labour. They don't have to do employee rights or anything. They don't have to look after anybody. They just have to have like randos like me just come and pick their food for them and then buy it, like easy peasy. Yes, you're going to lose some amount of like people eating it or whatever, but you're also, it's like free labour. But also you have to see it from a positive perspective. It is nice to go and pick your own food as a person, like as a consumer. I don't like just going and buying food from a supermarket and being like, "Ooh, done." Like, obviously it's easy, but it gives me no like satisfaction. When I grow my own food, I really appreciate that food. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you exist. I grew you from nothing, from a seed, and now I'm going to eat you. And it tastes so much better and you appreciate it more. And you're not just like, you know, when you throw it away, you're like, oh my God, like I worked for this and now I'm throwing it away. Whereas if it's just mass produced from a supermarket, like you kind of don't really care. You're just like, well, you don't really see where it comes from. It's just like packet food and you have no attachment to it. I also think the cost of living crisis. Okay, yeah, we're not in a fucking, what are they called? I've completely forgotten what it's called, where, inflation? No, oh my God, what's it called? Recession. I'm sorry, I've had 2 coffees today and it's only 11:30, so I had to like run to the toilet, sort of, not really run, but make a swift exit to the toilet. So I have no idea where I just left off, so I'm just going to carry on from where I think is appropriate. Also, like, if you give me a like if you think my sweat patches are pretty sporting, because I have not had sweat patches in a while. Those ones are fucking killing it. Okay, so, the cost of living. I didn't even need to include any of that stuff that I was like sweating and I needed the toilet, because now I've just remembered where I was. The cost of living, right. So I've talked about this a little bit. You know, when you're poor, well, you might not know, but I do. You think about food in terms of calorie, like pence or pounds per calorie. You think, what is going to be the best for, the most calories for my money? And that is not always healthy food. Well, often it isn't. Because you're thinking, right, if I have a salad, yes, that's good for me. But is it going to keep me going? No, I'm going to have to eat again, like really soon, and I'm going to be hungry again. And then I'm going to spend more money on food. So I definitely think that has an impact. Like, when I don't have much money, I think about what is going to fill me up or what's going to keep me going for the longest. And that is a concern of, I'm just going to have to buy more food. Literally getting up, going to the toilet and walking back here, I'm sweating again. So guys, it is seriously fucking boiling. And I want to get into my chat about my new anti-obesity medication that I have started. But I'll get to that in a bit. So basically, so the cost of living. The thing is, when you're at work, I find that I do tend to eat probably more shit, especially as a doctor, which is kind of ironic. But, if you're busy, you're on the go, you just shove something down and you're like, right, I just need energy quickly and then I need to carry on because it's busy, people are dying and I need to go and see them. So also, the gifts that you get given at work are always chocolate or biscuits. Like, sometimes people bring in like fruits, and I have seen it recently, especially with the hot weather, people bringing in, I've brought some in actually, bringing in like grapes, which is really good, just like pick, and they're still like nice and sweet and refreshing, but not like chocolate. I mean, who wants to eat chocolate at this, at 30 degrees? I don't know, because it does not make me feel fucking refreshed. It makes me feel thirsty and dying. Like right now, I just want to go and like dip into a plunge pool. Like, that is what I'm feeling. And grapes are the fruity equivalent of a plunge pool in my mouth, in my gusset. I was going to say gusset, gullet. So with the cost of living crisis, people are maybe needing to work more, so they have less time, which means that, if you have less time, you're not going to think about like, oh, I need to cook for like 2 hours and thinking about meal prepping. You're just like, I want to get something done fast so I can relax. And often faster food, not as good, right? I have got some ways of overcoming that, and I am like, when I do my online shop, because I hate going to the shop, like I hate it. It's like the most stressful thing, not the most, but a very stressful thing that I'd like to avoid in my life. And I know that's like really, it feels really lazy not going shopping, but not going physically to the shop. But I'm like, why would I stress myself out doing that if I hate it so much? And it then just makes me not buy food, because I'm like, I don't want to go to the shop. And then I just buy like quick food that will, like just convenience food, because I'm like, I don't want to go to the supermarket. So it works out well for everyone involved if I just shop online. It's also bloody great. Like, I don't leave the house, but goals. So I'm wondering how the cost of living crisis is really going to affect, and we are in a recession, like fuck off government, we are, okay? I don't care if it's like not technically in a recession, like fuck you rich bastards. Like, I am really hating on the government recently, I think because they charged me, they fucked up my tax code, so they've really fucked me over and I hate them. I'm struggling to contain my animosity. Also, I'm like, what are you doing for us? Come on, we need a better one. Better government, I mean. So, there are also other things, and I think our government could definitely do more. Like, there is an obesity crisis coming. It is literally like we are seeing the first ripples of it. We've seen the first ripples of it like 10 years ago, but things are being done. But if you look on the NHS website, or any website really, there really isn't that much help. Like, if you have cancer, it's like, right, I have cancer, I go and see a cancer specialist. But there's no obesity. There are endocrinologists, but like, there isn't really any support. It's just like, well, you're fat, eat less, count your calories. And I tell you what, I've been to the doctor twice about my weight, once or twice. The first time they told me to count my calories and, watch what I'm eating, which I started to do. I lost loads of weight, but I think I was doing that very dangerously and I didn't have any support doing it. They also told me that I couldn't get any help because I didn't have a comorbidity with my overweightness. So I need to come back when I've got diabetes or hypertension, high blood pressure. And it's like, for fuck's sake, I'm coming to you for help. And I'm not blaming the doctors at all, I'm just saying that we are in a first world country, in inverted commas, and we can't deal with the most pressing health concern of this population of this century. It is literally going to be the biggest problem over the next century of our species, as well as probably global warming and water shortages, which, fresh water shortages, which I'm anticipating in my holy knowledge. But obesity, going to be a big one. As well as, I don't know, that's like the new COVID. And COVID was, really, it was affecting obese people more. And it's because there's something called a metabolic syndrome. And it's not well known about yet. But Google it. It's a thing, okay? Obesity is caused by metabolic syndrome. It's not just eating too much, right? There is so much more to it than that. And I want, if you take anything away from this podcast, it is that, 1, obesity not a choice, okay? 2, obesity is so complex and it is a disease. Therefore, should we not think about treating it? And what are the ways that we can treat it? Well, you can't just say to someone, eat less, lose weight. Because do you not think they've tried that, okay? And that is what pisses me off, is like, oh, just eat less. Yes, it is easy to say, and yes, you can do it. But Our bodies are addicted to the sugar that we've been fed. Our genes are geared towards making us eat more, making us put on weight. And you are literally fighting against every morsel in your body. Imagine if I said to you, who didn't have any weight issues, just be thirsty all the time. You would find that hard. Imagine if you were dehydrated all the time. You were lightheaded. You were, you felt sick. You felt tired. You just felt crap. You wouldn't be able to work and go and exist and do things. You would be craving water like it was the last thing on earth. And that is the way I see it, is you are depriving someone, their body, it's not always their mind, right? They're not like, oh yeah, I don't want to be really fat and obese. And trust me, there are people that want to be fat and obese, right? There are people who, it's like a kinky thing, a fetish thing. There are people who are vibing that. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the general population who struggle with their weight. And you are fighting against every fucking cell in your body to try and literally an instinctive drive. It's like telling people to be abstinent from sex. It's like telling people to not drink water. It's like, I don't know, telling someone with ADHD to sit down and just not move for a whole day and concentrate on one task. It's like telling someone who's depressed to get over it and just get up and be happy. It's like telling someone who's anxious to not be anxious. It's like telling someone who's grieving to not be to not grieve, to not be sad. For fuck's sake, do you not think we've tried that? Do you not think we've tried to avoid this issue that is plaguing us and is bringing us down and making us feel shit? We put on weight even when we don't even fucking eat, and it's horrible. It's a fucking horrible thing to have. And for people it really makes me want to bang my head against a wall. I'm getting very passionate because I'm no bitches, it is not a choice. Okay, I am not choosing out of my own free will to be a fatty. I am plagued with it. I have a disease, an issue, a condition, a problem. It needs treating. How am I going to treat it? Okay, I can't switch my genes off. I wish I could, but actually, I don't know if I want to mess with my genes, but that is probably the next treatment for many things, is firstly, a lot of cancers genetic. And if we can figure out a way to detect those genes, to switch them off or on, whichever way it needs to be done, are people going to do that? Fuck yes, they are. If you've got breast cancer in the family and you're going to get breast cancer or Parkinson's or motor neuron disease or Huntington's disease or dementia, if a doctor said to you, we've got a clinically tested drug that will literally stop you from getting breast cancer when you're 90% going to get it because all of your female relatives have got it, are you going to take that gene therapy? Yes, because it's not altering your genes, it's just turning them on or off, right? So that is the next treatment. I see it as, for cancer, for genetic diseases, such as obesity, which is an epigenetic disease. I see it as well as, right, we haven't covered some things. I'm really going off on one today, okay? This is a passionate area of mine because I have struggled with my weight for 28 years. The moment I came out of the womb, I was fat. The moment I lost weight and then stopped dieting, I was fat. Even when I was dieting, even when I was at my skinniest, I was still in the overweight category for BMI because I couldn't get lower than 60 kilos. I just couldn't. And I'm supposed to be as a 5'1" woman, I'm supposed to be something like 55 or 50. It just doesn't even seem possible to me when my fucking muscle mass on its own is 55 kilos. I'm just going to be one solid muscle. Forget about my organs, forget about my eyes, forget about my head. I am just now one big muscle, existing as a muscle. Watch out, I'm going to win all the arm wrestling competitions. I don't have bones, but I am one big muscle, okay? So there we go. Passionate AF. I'm really into some diseases in particular. I get very into, and obesity is one of them because I think significantly underrated as an actual disease. People see it as a choice, as a lifestyle choice, as a problem that people just can't control themselves. Well, fuck you, it's not that. Trust me, I have pretty good control over most things. I managed to get into medical school and get a medical degree degree. I exercise like all of that time. Like it's not a lack of will, it's like an actual instinctive genetic drive to put on weight from my body. I feel like my body, if I didn't restrict it, would be literally 300 kilos. Like, I don't know, it just loves it. It really loves to put on weight. It just does. As well as muscle. I would be 150 kilos of muscle, 149 kilos of fat, and then 1 kilo of bone and organs. And that's it. Like, my organs would be minimal. All right, now I've gone off on that rant. That went on for like 5 minutes. I'm sorry. There are other things as well, like other factors involved in the mental health field, and we are all plagued with mental health problems. I don't care who you are, you have had some, form of anxiety or sad time in your life, or grieving or something going on. I don't know one human without a mental health problem. Even if it's undiagnosed, you have a mental health problem. It's just part of being human. I'm sorry, we're not all fun and sunshine and laughters and rainbows. Like, we all have problems. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. God, I smell a bit, I think. Yeah. There are other things that, mental health conditions affect our ability to go to the gym. Like, we might have low self-esteem. We might not want to wear tight gym clothes. We might think people are looking at us. We might have social anxiety. We might have depression, which makes us more tired, and then we don't really want to go out or can't. We might have anxiety about just going to the gym, like about just exercising. It makes my heart go fast, and that makes me more anxious, for example. But I also, in my research, I found out that there's something called obesogens, which basically make you fat. Like, they are a bit like carcinogen, which makes you have cancer, or is more likely to make you have cancer. Makes you more likely to have cancer. Let's rephrase that. There are things called obesogens which correlate, the start of use of obesogens, such as pesticides and things like BPA, which I can't remember what it stands for, but it's some kind of chemical that we use in plastics and fillings in our teeth, mainly the sealants. They started being used around about, interestingly, the same time as the obesity epidemic started. Now, it's an interesting correlation, because I do try to eat organically, because I just think, why am I putting the non-organic food just tastes like water, for instance. One, it's less expensive, but I also think if it's less nutritious, then I have to eat like 5 times the amount. Like, what's the point? And also, it might also be damaging me. So wherever possible, I do actually try to eat organic, and that is only something I am privileged with from being a doctor. Like, could I eat organically when I was a student, or if I was, on a lower wage job? No, because it's fucking expensive. Like, especially with the price of food at the moment and the price of everything else. Like, most people don't have that privilege, and I do see myself as very privileged to have that. But like, the thing is, to feed the growing population, we have to use the most efficient way possible to create crops, and that is through using pesticides and genetically modified, I don't know if that has an effect, but genetically modified fruits and vegetables which produce good yield, and also pesticides to stop all the pests from eating our fucking food, because trust me, that is an issue. Like, I've tried to grow my own food, and black flies, aphids, everything wants to eat it before you. Like, it's a nightmare. So it will be interesting to see over the next few years whether obesogens are highlighted, and whether organic... the thing is, people who eat organically tend to be more well off, therefore thinner. They tend to have better education, because they're more, because they're more well off, they tend to have better education, which means they're like, I'll eat organic food. They also tend to be thinner generally. So it's like the poor people get the shitter food, so they get fatter, so they get more health conditions. And then the rich people can eat better, eat like less obesogenic food, and they tend to eat more fresh food as well. And because they're thinner, they need to eat less. So it's like this vicious circle. So let's quickly, I've been going on for quite a while here. It's a big topic, and obviously I had Izzy, so when there's 2 people it always takes longer, but because since she's gone, I've been fucking rambling even more than I usually do. We're going off script here, okay, because I'm going to now discuss for a fairly short amount of time my obesity treatments. Number one, I have tried dieting, severely restricting, and that is kind of the only way that I could lose weight to a significant amount. And then I've just obviously slowly over the time put it back on. And, you know, that's just a slow creep in of, you know, obviously I've exercised in the background, but my body wants to be a certain weight, like it just can't help itself. So yes, I did that, but I was also at my most unhappy when I was doing that. Like mentally, I was very unhappy. Physically, my body was struggling because I was in a constant state for like a year at least of just starvation. And that is sadly the only way I could lose weight. Now, recently, this is very topical, okay? And I don't know whether this is, you know, what's going to happen in the next 5 years or whatever, or over the next year. But recently there has been, firstly, on the market, there has been something called orlistat, which is basically a medication that you take orally, and it blocks an enzyme which breaks down fat so that you can digest it. As a result, you end up shitting it out. If you follow a low-fat diet as well, you end up eating no fat, which fat has the most amount of calories per gram. 9 calories per, gram? That sounds like a lot. But then carbohydrates is 4 calories, and so is protein. So if you eat less fat, the theory is, and then you have orlistat, the theory is generally having less calories. Now, the issue with that is actually, there's always issues with medications. It's not just like, yeah, you take a medication and I'm sorted. The issue is, firstly, you've got the issue of pooing out fat, which is, number one, very stinky, very oily, could give you incontinence or urgency and frequency of passing feces. But it's like, well, you do need fat in your diet. Like, your cells are made up of water and fat. Like, they're not really made up of carbohydrates. They're made up of protein, fat, and water. Like, they just are. So you need protein, but you also need fat. And if you're getting rid of almost all of your fat, like, where are you getting that from? All of your cell membranes in, like, literally all of your cells are made up of lipids, phospholipids, which are made from fat. So it is like, what is the, you know, the cost to your body benefit of that, and not in terms of like cost money, pros and cons, I guess you could call it. But you know, you could also see, well, getting diabetes or being obese over a long period of time is damaging for your body. So next we move on to you can actually get prescribed exercise as well, but the thing is, I see the treatment of obesity as very minimal at the moment. If you have cancer, you're fucking smashing life, okay? Obesity is not as in you're smashing life with the treatment that you can get. Like, it's insane. Like, it's really good in this country. If you have a heart attack or heart disease, also bloody great. If you have obesity, no. It's like a 2-year waiting list to see a doctor for your obesity problems. And we should be investing money into it, like, especially preventing it in the younger generations. But I think the drug companies are definitely focusing on it because they make a lot of money from their new drugs. They have created some injectables, but you can also take them orally. I think they're called they're GLP-1 inhibitors, but I've forgotten. Is it an inhibitor? Let me check. Glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonists. I mean, it's kind of the whole like point of, you know, it doesn't matter what it means in terms of just to a layperson. You can just call it GLP-1 agonist, or so agonist is where it will I don't know if it matters, but it binds to a receptor of the drug, the hormone or the protein that it's pretending to be, because it has the same molecular structure as that protein, and a protein can be like a hormone or a protein, and it has the same molecular structure, so it binds to the receptor that the same molecule does that is produced by your body. Now and then it basically up-regulates the is it upregulation? My brain is not working. We'll get on to why. I think it upregulates the cycle of of whatever it releases from activating that receptor. Anyway, the science is unimportant, but it's a natural substance in your body, a bit like insulin. Like you could give yourself insulin, but please don't do that unless you have diabetes. So and you're prescribed it by a doctor. Anyway, this is a new medication that is injectable, and I'm kind of, the thing is, I don't want people to think, oh, she's a doctor and she's taking it, so it's fine for me. It's all very situational. I don't recommend that you take it without, really considering your situation, options. Firstly, it's expensive, you have to pay for it, but also it's not a medication to be like sniffed at. I'm going to tell you what it kind of feels like right now. And also it's fairly new. So it has been through clinical trials and testing, but is it safe? Not entirely sure yet. But the way I'm thinking about it is, I am obese, and the long-term effects of that are more significant than I think people realise. And I only see it as like, how the fuck am I going to combat it on my own? Like, I've tried and failed, and there's almost no other treatment out there for it. And I do exercise, and I am increasing my exercise now. But the effects of it are, now there are lots of effects. I'm literally looking at a thing right now and it's pretty crazy. But the main effects, I'm not going to go into all of them, but basically your stomach doesn't empty as quickly, which means that you feel fuller for longer. But not only that, it does something in your brain to make you feel like, you're not hungry. So sometimes your body can, be hungry, but you're not thinking it. And that is like, you're getting rid of that instinctive, like, oh my God, I need food, like craving it. Also, it does things in your pancreas. It increases insulin secretion. I'm just reading this. I'm sorry. I am struggling today. It basically increases insulin sensitivity, and there are loads of effects. Okay, I'm not going to go into all of them, but the main ones that you need to really think about are the fact that it decreases your appetite and makes you feel fuller for longer, which therefore makes you eat less, but as well as having all of the other things in the background. So it's not just like, oh, I'm not hungry, so I'm eating less. There are so many other effects. It affects your heart rate, your blood pressure, how much wee you produce, how your body metabolizes certain things. So it's pretty complicated, but it is very revolutionary. And I am fucking dying right now. I'm on my 3rd day. The issue is, it is really hot, and I can't tell if I feel like shit because it's really hot, 30 degrees in the UK, which is unheard of, or whether it's this medication or whether it's both. Now, I do think the medication is doing something. I did not sleep well last night. It's difficult because the conditions, I never think, oh, I feel this way, therefore it must be the medication. I always think, what about the external variables? Okay, so what about the fact that it's boiling? What about the fact that I went to the gym and I worked out and it was really hard work? But if we take all of that away, okay, I don't know if I want to say it because it might change, okay? I don't want you to think that this is set in stone. The fact that, if the weather gets cooler, things might improve. Number 1, I feel very thirsty. But apparently that's because you pee more. But also I'm sweating a lot. Number 2, I'm not hungry regularly. So my body in itself feels hungry in terms of I can tell that, when you get a bit weak and you're like, oh God, I really need some food. I feel that, but I'm not hungry. I'm not oh my God, I need to go and eat something right now, otherwise I'm going to fucking collapse. But I still feel that physical lethargy, I guess, but I'm not, in my head it's not I'm oh my God, go and get food right now, otherwise you're gonna die. I have noticed that my heart rate did go up a bit. Again, I don't know if that's because I was eating less and when your body's I need food and it just starts fucking pumping. I am not sleeping well at all, but I also think that's probably because of the heat. It is really hot. I had reflux last night. I do think that's probably because my stomach isn't emptying as much. I ate at 6:30, 7 7 p.m. and then went to bed at like 12. I don't think that's that late to eat, but I might have to start moving my meals further forwards, like latest 6 p.m, so that when I go to bed it's not giving me reflux, which was a real surprise. But look, it healed with some Gaviscon and I was all fine. But it did just feel like it was sitting there. I was like, oh, I feel really sick. This morning I really struggled to eat. I think that's probably because I'm really fucking tired, because I did not sleep. I woke up sweating, I was hot, I was clammy, but it's bloody boiling and the fan was like not really on me. I feel kind of not really there mentally. Sometimes I'm zoning out and it's like I'm not even in the room. I do that normally, but like I'm definitely doing it more. Again, I don't know if it's because I'm dehydrated. Like, I don't want to pin all of my symptoms on this drug, but I am definitely noticing things. What else am I noticing? I haven't had like any tummy pain. My bowels are the same. I think that's kind of it for now. I do just feel generally like shit right now, especially. But I think I just need to go get out of this room, stop talking, go and get a drink of some water and lie down in the shade and have a breeze rolling over me. So I think that's what I'm going to go and do. It's been a long one, guys. I mean, I've kind of done like half an episode with Izzy, and then like we also went for brunch before, and before that, oh my god, I was dying even more. I was like I've never looked tired, but I've not slept properly for 3 days, so I'm currently dying. It does coincide with how long I've been on this medication for, 3 days, and you could draw some conclusions from that, but whatever. Look, I don't want you to think, oh my god, those sweat patches. I don't want you to think Dawn's on it, so I should go on it too. I am doing it because I've tried everything. I feel like I've reached a point in my life where if I don't lose weight, I'm just going to carry on getting fatter and exercise less, and I've got maybe injuries because of being heavier, and it's like, if I could do something to make this vicious circle into a positive circle in terms of like, instead of being heavier so I don't exercise as much because I've got an injury and then I get put on more weight, it's like, okay, so you lose weight so it makes it easier to exercise, so you exercise more and then you eat more healthily and then you feel better, so you exercise more. Do you know what I mean? It's like this reverse positive cycle. And that's kind of what I'm hoping is going to happen. Look, I'm not taking it lightly whatsoever, and I'm not recommending that anybody else does it, because I am struggling right now. I'm on the fucking lowest dose and I'm struggling. I just hope things get better. I'm also not drinking, which will probably help, alcohol I mean, because there is an increased risk of things like pancreatitis, which is a very severe disease. I think people just generally are always going to judge what you do, and I'm just, I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not doing it lightheartedly. I'm doing it with, I'm taking it seriously. I am also changing how I'm eating, how I'm exercising. I'm not drinking. Do you know what I mean? I am also changing other things as well. So I'm hoping to see a really positive outcome. And hopefully it's just going to be like this, I don't want to call it like a reset, but like a, something that's really going to change my life for the better. And after seeing so many years of negativity in my weight gain and my body, and just struggling with being overweight, and hopefully this is going to be a good change for me. I probably will do a video of it on my YouTube channel. By the way, I'm just fucking dying right now, so I might have to go. But thanks so much for listening, guys. Like I said earlier, if you do want to support the show, Backseat Positivity and me, I will get more guests on, but the only way I can really do that is to have another microphone. And I know we're going through a financial issue right now, and I hate asking for help so much. And you might think, well, she's a doctor, she can afford it. No, guys, I'm fucking absolutely fucked. Like, my financial situation is bad, okay? But I still continue to make this content because I love doing it, and because I want to impart, some educational general knowledge to people, and I also love having fun and connecting with you guys too. So yeah, but I don't earn any money from it, and I'm not asking to. What I'm asking for is to just some contribution towards supporting the show, so I can get some better equipment, so I can get another microphone in particular, so that I can interview people and it not be really weird, because I can only really interview my friends at the moment, because I can't ask somebody to like be a guest on the show and then be like, oh, I've only got one microphone, you're gonna have to sit like 2 centimeters away from me, someone I don't know. And also it's like really awkward because you're sat next to each other. You need someone that, I know this is like real first world problems, right, but it will honestly make the podcast like way better having 2 cameras, one that actually doesn't turn off, and also 2 microphones. Like, game changer. I'll be able to have guests on, people, doctors, like fellow medics like me. I'll try and find some fun ones, because we don't want any boring people. And I didn't think of any weird thoughts. I'm really sorry. I am literally fucking almost about to pass out with tiredness. So yeah, like I said, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you are watching on YouTube, please give it a like, please consider subscribing, or if you want to listen on the go, I'll leave the links down below in the description, but there is you can listen on Spotify, just type in Backseat Positivity, or anywhere you stream podcasts. You can also listen on, if you have YouTube Premium, you can download it. Listen to me whilst you're doing your chores, learn a little bit whilst you're doing your chores. You don't have to just sit and watch me. You can just put it on in the background and like listen whilst you're doing stuff. That's what I do anyway with podcasts. I don't want to sit down for like an hour and a bit, like just to watch someone talk. But yeah, if you can, like I said, listen on Spotify and things like that. So just put me in your ears and sit on the bus or whatever, or walk to work or something like that, or drive. If you can concentrate whilst listening to a podcast, I personally can. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Like I said, bye guys. I upload every Monday and Thursday. This has been the longest outro of my life. I literally can't concentrate. But yeah, I'll see you in next week. Bye.